Every life begins twice, once when you are born, and again when you realize you are the one shaping your mind. Everything you experience, every emotion, every reaction begins with thought. The world outside of you only mirrors the world within you. This is where your true power hides, not in changing what's around you, but in transforming what's happening inside. If you watched episode 3, then you've already learned how to command your morning, how to take the first hour and turn it into your foundation for power. Now, we go deeper, because the moment you wake your mind, the world begins to follow your command. If you're new here, welcome to the Batcat Series, the chosen era. You can absolutely start here and still grow. But I'd encourage you to circle back to episode 3, the awakening hour, when you can. It sets the groundwork that makes everything you're about to hear sink 10 times deeper. Because before you master the mind, you must first become aware of it. Let's start with the truth most never stop to realize. Your mind isn't a passive observer. It's the architect of your entire existence. What you focus on expands. What you repeat becomes your reality. And the language you use, even inside your head, shapes the world you experience. Every time you think a thought, neurons connect and strengthen. Repetition builds pathways, and those pathways become habits. Habits of thought lead to habits of action, and soon, the invisible becomes visible in how you speak, how you move, how you see yourself. The problem? Most people live with unexamined scripts playing on repeat. They say things like, "I'll never change," or "That's just how I am," not realizing they're casting those words as spells that build walls around their potential. But awareness breaks the loop. Today, you stop letting your thoughts think for you. Today, you take authorship of your inner voice. Pause right now and listen to what your mind has been whispering in the background. Is it criticism, fear, doubt, or does it sound like leadership, clarity, peace? Here's the secret. You don't fight your old thoughts. You reprogram them, because energy follows attention, and attention is choice. When you feed a thought, you grow it. When you starve it, it fades. So think of your mind as a mirror. If it reflects negativity, it's not broken, it's simply showing what it's been fed. You can change the reflection by changing the source of light. Start small. Tomorrow morning, when you catch the voice that says, "I'm tired," try shifting it slightly. Say, "I'm charging." When your mind says, "I'm overwhelmed," try, "I'm organizing." It's not lying to yourself. It's leading yourself. That's reprogramming. The art of subtle redirection repeated consistently enough to rewrite your defaults. Because the human mind doesn't obey force. It obeys repetition. You can't bully yourself into transformation. You must guide yourself there patiently, deliberately, and with awareness. Now imagine this. You're standing in front of a mirror, not to judge what you see, but to meet what's been hidden. Most people glance at their reflection to fix surface things, hair, clothes, posture, but never realize the real reflection is invisible. The mirror isn't glass, it's thought, and the image you're seeing in your life is just the projection of what your mind has accepted as truth. When you change the script, you change the reflection. That's why self-talk matters. Not because of positive vibes, but because your subconscious believes everything you tell it. It doesn't care if it's truth or lie. It simply obeys instruction. So when you say, "I can't do this," your mind doesn't argue. It begins looking for proof to confirm that belief. And when you say, "I've got this," it begins scanning for past to make it real. You're programming your destiny with the language you choose. And here's the twist. It's not about fake positivity. It's about accurate alignment. Saying everything is perfect when it's not will just create denial. But saying everything is temporary and I'm becoming stronger through it builds truth and power simultaneously. Your thoughts are commands, and the universe Whether you interpret that spiritually, psychologically, or energetically, responds accordingly. Let's anchor this with an example. A man wakes up late, curses himself, scrolls through his phone, and rushes to work frustrated. His morning energy is chaos. His mirror is distortion. Another man wakes up late too, but he pauses, takes one breath, says, "All right, I'm later than planned, but I'll move efficiently." Same circumstance, different frequency. The first repeats chaos. The second reclaims control. Both started with thought. Because thought creates emotion. Emotion creates motion, and motion creates outcome. Everything begins upstream in the mind. And when you master that stream, you master everything downstream. Now, I want you to visualize the mind like water. When it's turbulent, everything reflects distorted. You can't see your own face, your purpose, or your power. But when you calm it, through stillness, breath, and focus, the reflection becomes clear. That's the discipline of mastery, to still the water enough to see what's true beneath the noise. This is what we mean by mere mind. It's the practice of turning your mind from a battlefield into a reflection of clarity. When you reach that state, decisions become intuitive, reactions slow down, and peace becomes your natural state of awareness. You stop chasing purpose and start embodying it. You stop waiting for signs and start recognizing that your thoughts are the signs. This is not mysticism. This is the most practical form of transformation there is. Because once your mind aligns, your life obeys. When you begin to notice your thoughts without reacting, you start to break the spell they've had over you. Observation creates distance. And in that distance, you find freedom. The goal isn't to silence your mind. It's to understand its language, to notice what it's been trying to protect you from, what it's been rehearsing, and what it's been repeating out of fear. Every limiting belief once served a purpose. It was built to protect you, to keep you from pain, rejection, or failure. But protection can become a prison when it's no longer needed. When you outgrow an old version of yourself, the first sign is mental resistance. It feels like friction, but it's actually birth. The human mind is designed to conserve energy. It resists change, even when change means freedom. That's why transformation requires intention. Awareness opens the door, but repetition walks you through it. This is where the practice begins. You can't think yourself into peace. You train yourself into peace through repetition, exposure, and realignment. So let's anchor this with practice you can actually live. Start by building mental check-ins throughout your day. When you feel tension, stop and ask, what story am I believing right now? If it's a story of pressure, of failure, of fear, rewrite it. Turn, I can't handle this, into, I'm handling this moment by moment. Turn, this always happens to me, into, this is happening for me to master this lesson. Language is leverage. You can use it to trap yourself or to transcend yourself. You don't need affirmations plastered on your walls. You need awareness in your words. Each sentence you speak is a seed. Plant them like you mean them. Next, control your mental environment. Every scroll, every conversation, every sound shapes your focus. You can't fill your mind with noise and expect peace. You can't surround yourself with doubt and expect certainty. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off. It means curating your input. Be selective with what earns your attention. Your energy is your economy. Spend it like it matters. Even music, movies, and background content program you. Ever notice how a single song can shift your mood instantly? That's proof. Your subconscious is always listening. Feed it accordingly. Now think of this. If your mind is a mirror, what do you want reflected? Resentment, chaos, or clarity and strength? Whatever you feed your awareness will become the reflection staring back. This is why silence is powerful. When you sit in quiet reflection, no music, no scrolling, no noise, you start to hear the original voice underneath the programming. That voice is still, but strong. It doesn't shout. It guides. It's not the voice of fear. It's the frequency of truth. That is your real identity trying to surface. The version of you that's not reacting, but responding. The one that doesn't get dragged by thought, but directs it. When you find that voice, protect it. It's your compass. Most people never meet that version of themselves because they fill every silent gap with distraction. But silence is not emptiness, it's calibration. The more time you spend in silence, the clearer your reflection becomes. You'll see what used to shake you now passes through you. What used to define you now refines you. And you realize something powerful. You were never broken. You were simply buried beneath noise. When you start to see this clearly, the world begins to move differently. Conversations that once triggered you now reveal new insight. Problems that once drained you now feel like puzzles. You begin to feel your energy return because your attention is no longer leaking into old narratives. This is where mental mastery becomes visible, not in public moments, but in private ones. When you notice your mind reaching for old stories and you calmly redirect it, that's real power. No one can see it, but everyone will feel it. Let's make it practical. When your mind spirals into what ifs, try this 3-step shift. 1. Catch the pattern. What if this fails? 2. Ground in truth. It hasn't happened yet. I can handle it if it does. 3. Reframe the outcome. What if this actually works better than I expect? You don't need perfect positivity. You need balanced awareness. Remember this. Your brain doesn't work on logic alone. It works on repetition and emotion. So pair your new affirmations with feeling. Say it and feel it. That's how you teach your nervous system what to believe. Now, zoom out for a second. Think about how far you've already come. In episode 3, you learned to master your mornings to claim the first light. Now you're mastering the inner light. You're rewiring the lens through which you see everything else. This is the deeper awakening, not of routine, but of reality itself. You'll notice the world starting to reflect your progress in subtle ways. A calmer conversation, an opportunity that aligns, a coincidence that feels too precise to ignore. That's not magic, that's alignment. When your thoughts clear, your vision clears, and soon, what once felt impossible starts feeling inevitable, because every hero's story begins here, not in power, but in awareness. You can't fight your old mind into silence. You outgrow it through consistency. You practice stillness until stillness becomes instinct. Tonight, when you look in the mirror, don't rush. Take a second to look yourself in the eyes, not for vanity, but for recognition. Say, I am learning to see clearly. Say, I am not my past thought. Say, I am the thinker, not the thought. Because the moment you know the difference, you become free. And freedom, real internal freedom, is what this series is leading you toward. You're not just awakening. You're remembering who you've always been beneath the programming. You're not broken. You're being rebuilt. You're not behind. You're becoming aligned. If this message resonates, take a breath and feel gratitude. Because awareness itself is a miracle. It means your story is shifting. And if you're watching this far, you're not here by accident. You're part of something much bigger. A movement of people waking up to their own potential. The likes, comments, shares, and super thanks. They aren't just metrics. They're energy signatures that push this message further into the world. So if this helped you, share it. And help someone else look into their own mirror. In the next episode, the frequency of focus. We'll learn how to direct attention like a weapon of creation. Because once your thoughts align, your focus determines what takes root. Until then, stay aware, stay grounded, and remember, the mirror isn't outside of you, it's your mind. And right now, you're learning to master its reflection.